What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Beyond Ordinary podcast, where we connect with great people doing great things to inspire you to do the same. Got another banger episode with y'all today. We're going to be talking everything AI with Arshad. He is the founder of Engine Dynamics. We're going to get into all that, his company, what they do, and how they've been revolutionizing the world. But Arshad, can you tell the people who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Myles, for having me, and pleasure to be on your show. Thank you very much. And yeah, my background, I'm a serial entrepreneur, inventor, engineer, and educator. So I've started 5 companies. I had a corporate career in tech before that. I have negotiated an exit to one of the largest automobile groups in my last company. I had my fair share of failures. I think that comes with the package. Uh, but I think it's been a fantastic journey. I've been fortunate enough to be part of several industries, where I felt that I've made an impact.
For sure, man. So before we dive into like engine dynamics, I want to ask about your background. How'd you get into entrepreneurship to begin with? I see that, you grew up in India, you had a knack for physics and you were doing what, physics lab simulations? Like kind of dive into that and how you started doing that and how that translated into your business ventures today.
Sure. And I think when I grew up, I was a very voracious reader. So I used to read a lot of books. And I think, it was reading was my biggest hobby. I used to do a lot of books in the public library. Pretty much, this is what I used to do. So I read Isaac Asimov and the Foundation series when I was 11 years old, which is pretty young to read something related to Asimov, right? So I think that's what started off my journey with science. I was fascinated by this world painted by Asimov, the future, the machines, what we build in the future. So this really, really caught my attention, and I was really fascinated. And I wanted to kind of build something similar when I grew up. So this is kind of where my uh, drive to create things came in. So I think, this is what I wanted to do. And I then went down to do a lot of things in science when I was in school. I created a simulation in school and, sold it. I was always an entrepreneur. So I sold it and, made it a business. And then, along the way, I went from engineering and college again. I had a couple of businesses. I always had the knack in which to sell, right? I think it's pretty important to sell, not just build stuff. So I realized that very early on that, you need to package it, create it, and sell it. I think it's a whole deal. You can't just create and, just step back. So you need to kind of sell it as well. So, yeah, so I then started out in college. I created robots that play football, and I created, that was very early on in 97. I had a couple of papers on AI when the AI was very, very,
You said
in the very
1970?
1997. So I think, it's
Oh,
pretty still
97.
very,
Oh, wow.
yeah, still very early for AI. So I think, pretty much nothing kind of existed. So I was very fortunate to kind of be involved with some of the stuff over there. And then I started my career with IBM. I got campus recruited to IBM, and, I worked in several countries, including Australia, Cyprus, US, Singapore, to name a few. And I had a interesting journey, Miles, I think, but in summary, been fascinated with science, been an entrepreneur all my life, a strong believer in sales. I think I'm a salesperson first and a tech guy second, right? So that's been in my DNA.
So let's go back to what you said about, you got into AI in 97. So you've pretty much seen the evolution. Like we're talking like 26 years. So how was AI different back then to how it is today? Like how have you seen it evolving?
Yeah, so I think it was very early days. I think in '97, in fact, when we were experimenting with AI, when we were creating stuff with AI, nobody understood the full potential. It's just a tool that you play around with. So it is not fully matured. It didn't give proper results, so we could not actually use it in many of our functions and functionalities, right? So it didn't give a lot of options to kind of be used in at that time. But everybody saw the potential. I think the potential was clearly there that someday this is gonna hit really big, which it is at. It has right now. I think if you look around us, uh, we are amazed by AI right now. I think it's fascinating stuff going on at the moment.
Absolutely. So like, things like AI and tech, those take a while to take off. So while you are building, engine dynamics and stuff, like how are you able to continue to push forward, years upon years upon years and pour money into a company, year after year, and you don't even know if you're going to see the fruits of your labor? Like how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, see, I take a calculated risk as an entrepreneur. So I think, yeah, so this is something that I've been doing. So in fact, I started Engine Dynamics in 2015, and 2015, again, AI was very uncool. AI, automation, robotics, nobody was speaking in 2015, right?
Really
It was
uncool.
still, yeah, it's a very uncool thing to do. But right now, every startup wants to be called an AI company, right? So when we started in 2015, uh, I had a vision of what we want to build, and it was a pretty long-term vision. And I was looking at investors who believe in the long-term vision and is ready for the journey, right? So this is not for investors who want to kind of make a quick buck and flip it in a year and exit. So this is not that kind of company. So there's very long term, very strategic, and huge upside potential. Once everything lines up, and I think we've been fortunate enough to get a lot of press. We've been featured on Popular Science, Mashable, Discovery Channel, Fast Company, a lot of tier one press, and it's been a very, very fascinating journey so far.
Okay. So because it was a calculated risk, you pretty much had a conviction that it was going to work out. Like everything was pretty much calculated.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think the market opportunities were there, and given the right timing of some of the products and the use cases, there was clarity of thought. From my perspective, that we would kind of hit these milestones. We could create some of these products. So it is pretty clear that this is the way it was aligned.
Cool. So I also want to ask you, so you said you're a serial entrepreneur, you've built, scaled, sold many companies. What is a common thing between all your companies that led to success? Like what was the key element
Right.
to their success?
Right. So I think, yeah, first of all, the disclaimer is that not all my companies were successful. So I think, I did have some hard lessons, especially in my third startup, which went down, and, we had a lot of hard lessons on hiring and everything. And one interesting lesson is that, which I think a lot of people will find surprising, is that no matter how many startups you do, every new startup has a lot of uncertainty which you don't have an answer for. So you're never prepared, even if you're a 6x entrepreneur, a 2x entrepreneur. The only thing that kind of helps you prepare is that mentally you know how to navigate the journey, right? So I think that's the only takeaway that you get as a serial entrepreneur. So I think when you come to the next company, mentally you have some frameworks, you have some methodologies which you can use to navigate the journey. But you can't say in the new startup that you will be successful or you're an expert, because there's a lot of unknowns, and that's the nature of the game.
For sure. Yeah, I like that. You were talking about how, the last company pretty much builds a foundation for the next one, not even if it's in a different industry or niche, because you have those same skills, transferable skills from that one experience to the next. Yeah, it's definitely a major key. So, so I had a conversation with an entrepreneur. I think this was my last interview that I did, and he was talking about the different mindsets. How it's entrepreneurs that go from like 1 million to 3 million. That's a different mentality than to go from like 3 to 10, and then obviously from 10 to 100. So for you, I just want to know if, you agree to that sentiment, and like, what is the mindset shift to get from, that 7 figures and push for those 8 figures?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think and that's a great point, right? And I think in terms of your mechanics and system, it's like having different vehicles, right? I think you get different mileage, so the whole thing has to change around you, right? So pretty much what tools you have, what methods you have when you're doing, let's say, $1 million a year or $2 million a year, it's not gonna take you to 10 million a year, right? So it's gonna change, and that's, I think, an important part of US non-entrepreneur, and we have a term for it. We call it the product market fit, right? That is a PMF, is what we call in entrepreneurship, and it's a classic case, and it's generally recognized that it's a never-ending story. So as soon as you get to the next stage, you need the different tools, different mindset, different methodologies, right? Otherwise, you're gonna get there. So I 100% agree. I think what works for you in phase A will not work for in phase B, will not work for in phase C. So you need to change your systems, methods, and tactics as you go to the next phase.
Okay. For sure, man. For sure. And what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in bringing in Gym Dynamics product to market, and how did you navigate through those challenges?
Sure. I think what we're trying to do at Engine Dynamics is very complex, very capital intensive, and fraught with the risk. So I think, creating some of those products and building some of those functionalities and features uh, was very, very complicated. So getting the product out was the biggest challenge. Figuring out how to build it, finding investors, raising money, because it's such a hard journey for us. A lot of investors were not ready to back us because I think the risk appetite, and all the metrics didn't add up to a lot of investors. You can't blame them. So it took a lot of time. I think when we started out very early, very, very few people backed us. But right now, there are a lot of people coming forward because they've seen that, we have been able to navigate the waters, we got the products out. So definitely raising money, getting the products out, and building the right team. I think these are the three major challenges that we faced at Incheck.
Okay. And then, so how did you go about, like, conquering that? So, like, you said you had struggle with rolling the product out, and then getting investors, and then obviously getting the right team. So I'm assuming, like, you got the right team, and then, you got your investors, and then you rolled it out in that order. You know what I mean? So how did you guys go about pushing through those challenges?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where the whole sales part come in, right? As an entrepreneur, you're selling to your team, you're selling to investors, you're selling to a tech team. So they need to be sold on your vision. So they need to kind of believe that you are on the right journey. And even for your team, you need to understand they are leaving behind a steady job, a steady paycheck, and taking a risk along with you. So why should they join you, right? It's a hard question. So you need to kind of make sure that you address, uh, you motivate them, give them enough upside, not only in terms of money, but also upside in terms of opportunities, creative freedom. These are all important. And at the same with investors, make sure that they understand you mean business. You are here to deliver, and setbacks are not gonna deter you. So these are kind of the important part of getting the right investors. And I think pretty much the products, I think, you need to have all this come together and launch a product. So absolutely, I think it's very important that you get all these three tied in.
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit on a major key, is that getting your team all aligned on the mission. Because if they don't, because money can only motivate people for so long. You know what I mean? Like, it has to come with
Absolutely.
somewhere within them, and conviction within them that, yeah, I'm going to take the risk along with you. And so, yeah, that speaks to, company culture, making sure that you have a good company culture. So yeah, I like that a lot. That's something that as I'm going through my entrepreneurial journey that I'm starting to learn that you have to get people on board and believe in the vision and
Sure,
not just treat it like, a job. Because I found that when I brought people on that didn't so I have a marketing agency and I help podcasters and YouTubers expand their growth. And so when I bring somebody, a new editor on, sometimes they'll only be on for maybe like a month or two and then they'll like go by the wayside, not necessarily because I did anything wrong, but because
sure,
they really just didn't, they were just there for the paycheck. And because they were only there for the paycheck and
sure.
they found another opportunity to get paid more, it's like, oh, okay, well, I want to do that. But the core team that I have now, I've had multiple team members that have been with me for over a year plus. They're very reliable. They believe in their vision. And, I try to make sure to hold on to them for dear life because like, it's hard to find people that are not only, good quality workers, but um, are reliable and believe in the vision. Like having all three of those, it's hard to come by.
Sure, absolutely. And I think, in fact, even we have some tenets for our culture. Some core principles, and one is that uh, zero tolerance for corporate politics, zero corporate bloat, and fail fast and innovate often and take risks. So these are some of the tenets that help us on the edge. Because a company like us uh, can't we need to be very agile and nimble. We need to move fast, break things, move fast and break things. So I think it's kind of the way we build. And you're absolutely right. I think, if people are not motivated, uh, you know even if they deliver, there are degrees in which the delivery and the passion comes out in the product. So I think it definitely matters a lot, that you get that buy-in. So this is very important. You need to invest that time to get those people on board, along on your journey.
All right, can you explain how Engine Dynamics is using AI and robotics to improve the quality of people's lives? And if so, can you also give a specific example?
Sure. So InGen has a range of products, and the vision for the company. And if you go back to my original vision, when I read the science fiction series, is to create a future where there is a much more freer time, uh, less dangerous jobs for humans. So this is kind of a ultimate vision I had. So InGen kind of aligns with the same principle. So we don't want we want to make sure that people get more productive time in their lives, the more enjoyable time. We want to take away all the mundane, the hazardous, the recurring, repetitive jobs or tasks from your life, which I guess everybody wants to take out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of where I think our core use cases. And a classic example I want to give is we have a surveillance product, and that helps keep your facilities secure. So if there is a fire, if there is a smoke, I think we can kind of ensure that the facilities are secure. The workers are wearing safety gear, so we can ensure through the safety gear mechanism that you're wearing the safety gear properly. Is the safety in check? Are we protecting the people properly? So we have all these mechanisms built in so that life gets easier. So another product is the elderly care product. So as we age, we have different elements and different people, different problems that come to our life at that stage. Called the golden years. So we have a product which kind of helps you age with a companion and connects you well with your family. So it's a really great product, and it has got a lot of recognition.
And then, what industries have seen the most benefit from Engine Quantum Leap, and what unique challenges have you encountered with integrating AI into those different sectors?
Sure. So I think Quantum Leap is a consulting wing. So that is more like the AI automation and robotics consulting. So that goes hand in hand, with the products that we sell. So we kind of help use that to tailor and create specific products that are addressing some of the issues, in the current way. So classic example is that we could consult potentially for a hiring platform. We have an AI enabled recruiter which can literally do interviews and everything. Or the first round of interviews, it's all done by AI. So it does actually a video interview, ranks you and kind of shortlists you. So it does the first round of interview. It asks a question, it reads your CV, it can understand what is your strength, and it'll rank you and give you a report. So it's kind of scary, but it's actually happening. So
Yeah. And speaking of scary, like, a lot of people are kind of scared of AI and being displaced in the workplace because of AI. Do you have any thoughts on that?
yeah, I think it's an understandable emotion, but if you dig deeper, uh, I think it's mostly fear of the unknown. I think there would be some job displacement, but it won't take away jobs. I think new jobs will be created. AI is like the new computer. So I think even before computer and after computer, we still have this jobs, but the way you do the jobs have changed. And and that goes back to any kind of job that you're doing now. At least 70-80% of all your tasks would involve some amount of AI. But that doesn't mean your job is going to go away. Your job is going to be there, but at least 20 to 30 times more productive, right? It's like having a computer, a new computer. This is the way I would look at it. So I think there will be disruption, and people are not uh, readily who cannot readily adapt to these new tools. They will, they're the ones who's going to suffer. But I think there'll be enough job, and I think there'll be a shortage because this is going to create more opportunities, more industries. I think it's exciting times. So I think as long as you're prepared, I think it's for the best outcome.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I think that should be seen as a tool. You know what I mean? And the people that are able to utilize these tools are going to be the people that get ahead. It's not necessarily going to be just okay, AI takes over, and then like the movie Wall-E, where it's just a bunch of robots and stuff like. It's not going to be like that. We're still going to have society, humanity. It's just going to be people who know how to use AI are going to um get ahead. And I like what you said earlier in terms of AI is basically like the new computers. Like when computers came out, everybody was like freaked out and stuff like that. But now everybody uses it. Like we're not going to stop AI. AI is not going to stop evolving. So we're just going to have to learn how to adapt. And the people that learn how to adapt, just like caveman days, you're going to survive. And if you don't adapt, well, what happens if you don't adapt. So.
Absolutely.
And then what advice would you give other entrepreneurs who are raising funds for their business, especially in a highly competitive field such as AI automation?
I think you had to be very resilient. I think this is the most important characteristic. You have to have as an entrepreneur. You need to keep on hitting the right notes, keep on coming back. It doesn't matter if you're the smartest or if you're the sales fish, and the people who win the game are the people who can wait out, right? So you need to be patient, wait out, and resilient, and connect with your investors properly, understand the pulse of the investor, see how you can connect with them, tell a story. Very important to tell a story. I think this is where many entrepreneurs they miss out. So most investors buy your story and you, rather than the tech or anything. So this is a key message, right? So you need to have a good story, and they need to have confidence in your capabilities, and everything else is secondary.
Absolutely. Hey, the last interview I did, literally, that was the topic that at hand that we were talking about was about storytelling and making sure that people connect and like how to connect people via storytelling. So yeah, I like it whenever I get on interviews and people are kind of like saying different things, even though it's a completely different topic. That congruence lets me know how important storytelling really is in terms of our oral communication amongst one another. Coming to the end of the interview, but before we close out, I just want to ask, what do you want people to take away from this interview?
That's it's a good one. I think the main essence is that as an entrepreneur, you have to push forward. It's like life, it's like riding a bicycle. You stop moving, you fall down, right? So you need to keep on pedaling, then you move forward. So you need to keep moving in life, in business. I think that's an important lesson, and everything is temporary. The setback you have, the failure you have, and there's a message for everybody, right? Keep moving, positivity, and you'll be going in the right direction. Don't stop. That's my takeaway message.
Absolutely. In the entrepreneurial game, you only lose if you quit, so you just can't quit. If you have, like we were talking earlier, if you have that inner motivation, that reason, that why, that story, that compelling story, that is going to motivate you to carry through. It can't just be about money. Money is only going to take you so far. But thank you, Arshad, so much for dropping that knowledge on my audience. Where can the people find you at?
So I have a personal website, and you can all contact me over there. I usually respond to all messages. You reach out to me, so that I target to respond within at least 3 to 4 days. So I'm happy to respond. So you can go to my personal website at www.arshadhisham.com, or go to my company website and you can follow us on social media, drop in a message, and happy to help.
For sure. Yeah, I'll be sure to link all that in the show notes. All right, everybody. Beyond Ordinary Podcast. Hope you were inspired to be great. Another banger. Take care.